This morning I'm going to share with you something I'm very excited about. I've been using it for about 8 months now. It's a analog ballistic solver from Accuracy First Development Group. It's called the Whiz wheel. It's a really cool little gadget, so let's go ahead and run through some of the features of it. Okay, the Whiz wheel is about 5 inches square. It's very thin. It weighs less than 2 ounces. It is made out of this durable, flexible plastic material that stays flexible even when it's cold out. I haven't felt like I'm going to break it or crack it or anything. It's waterproof, it's dust proof, drop proof, just about anything proof you can think of. It's a pretty tough little unit. Okay, the Whiz wheel comes in 2 pieces. You have the outer sleeve, which is the tan part here, has all your directions printed on it front and back. And then the inside of it, which is the heart of the system, is a solver wheel. And that's a white portion here that spins. Now the solver wheels are interchangeable, and you can order them for whatever ballistic profile you want. Now that's the really cool thing about this. You can buy them for some commercial and military ammunition profiles, but as long-range shooters and hunters, we want the most accurate drops that we can get. So when you order these wheels, they're going to ask you some questions, and it's going to look a lot like an electronic ballistic solver when you go to set up a profile. They're going to ask you what bullet you're running, what muzzle velocity you're running it at, what your scope height above bore is, what your twist rate and direction of twist is. They're going to ask you, do you want it printed out in yards or meters? Do you want it printed out in MOA or mils? They're gonna set this card up exactly how you want it. So take the time to give them accurate information, because it will directly affect how accurate this solver is. So the Whiz wheel is broken down into a series of windows on the sleeve where you read your corrections. Now the front of the sleeve is all about elevation corrections, and it's broken down into 4 different windows. You have a short range window, you have a mid-range window, and 2 long-range windows. Now the long-range windows are broken down that way to give you the furthest correction, or the furthest distance shot over the broadest range of density altitude. So on the left side, it would give you the option to shoot from minus 10,000 feet density altitude up to 5,000 feet density altitude. And the cards, or the solver wheels, are generated to get you out into the transonic region of whatever bullet and load you're shooting. So this is a 300 grain Match King at 2,900 feet a second. So it'll get me out to about 1,600 yards. Okay, the back of the sleeve has your wind, spin drift, and mover window in it. It lets you shoot with a full value 90-degree wind, or a 2, 4, 8, 10, 1, 5, 7, and 11 value, or if you prefer not to go that way, you can use this handy conversion chart here with a cosine number assigned to each direction according to the familiar hands on the clock. Now in the middle we have a spin drift window that gives you your spin drift, and then at the bottom you have a mover. So if you're shooting movers at a steel match and you're not sure how to hold, you can do it with a Whiz wheel. Now at the bottom of the card, it gives you an angle inclination correction chart. It's very simple to use. The angles are in degrees, and these are your corrections across the top, and you simply take whatever your angle is and line it up with your correction, and it gives you an adjusted number. Okay, the Whiz wheel uses density altitude, or DA, as its air density component. If you are already running density altitude and have a meter like a Kestrel that gives you that number, then that's all you need to do. You simply turn it on, come up with your DA, and that's the input you're going to use. If you don't, you can manually do it with the Whiz wheel by simply lining up the temperature, known temperature, with a known elevation, lining the 2 numbers up, and coming up with your density altitude here in the top window. If you're a station pressure kind of guy, you can turn the card over, come up with your station pressure, and line it up here with your temperature, and it'll give you a density altitude number in the bottom window. Okay, let's set up a shot with the Whiz wheel. Say I've got a bear across this canyon at 1,200 yards. He's 5-degree down angle on the shot. Right now I have a measured 70-degree temperature, and I just measure with my Kestrel 25 station pressure. So the first thing I need to do is figure out how that all converts to a density altitude number. So I turn the solver over, and I would line up my 25 station pressure with my 70-degree temp. Okay, that comes in right under the 7 here, so I'm going to call it 6,900 feet density altitude. So now I'm going to turn the solver over, and 6,900 is my DA number for all my calculations now. So the bear's at 1,200 yards and 5 degrees. So I'm going to come over here to my high altitude long range shot window, and I'm going to line up my 1,200 with 6,900 right here. That's going to give me a 28.5 minute correction. Now what about the angle, 5 degrees? Let's turn it over and check. So at 28.5 minutes up here, lined up with my 5-degree angle right here, it looks like they're only dropping off 1/10 of a minute for a 5-degree shot at that distance. So there's my shot for my elevation. Okay, I know I need 28.5 minutes of elevation correction to shoot this bear at 1,200 yards. What about my wind? For wind, on the Whiz wheel here, you only get a 10-mile-an-hour value, so you're going to have to do a little bit of math. Now, I have an estimated 5 miles an hour at 9 o'clock on this bear, so it's a full value wind, and whatever correction it is going to be exactly half of what this calls for. So this works the same way as the elevation. I'm going to line up my 1,200 yards with 6,900 density altitude. So it's calling for 4.6 minutes of wind deflection correction. Now I'm going to divide that by half, so it's going to come up with 2.3. Now don't forget spin drift, so you come down in the next window here, and the spin drift is going to be exactly between half a minute and 3/4 of a minute. So let's call it 6/10 of a minute. So I'm going to add 6/10 of a minute to my 2.3 correction to come up with 2.9 minutes of left wind correction for the shot. Okay, so Jake and I are going to take a practice shot. Actually, Jake's going to take a practice shot on a rock over here across the canyon. We found a colony of ground squirrels, and we're going to hit them pretty hard in the morning. We're going to go ahead and set the shot up using the Whiz wheel. To save time, I went ahead and I measured my station pressure and my temperature ahead of time. It's about 60 degrees and 24 on the station pressure. So I'm going to convert that to density altitude on the back of the Whiz wheel here and see what I come up with. So I'm going to turn the 24 and line it up with the 60, and it's going to give me 7,500 density altitude. So then I'm going to come to the front of the card, and it's a mid-range shot, 550 yards, so I'm going to use this left-hand window, and I'm going to line up 7,500 with 550 yards. So Jake, we need a 10-minute up correction, okay? And it doesn't feel like we have any wind right now, so if I see any wind, I'll call you on it, okay? Mm-hmm. And it's as simple as that. Oh, there's only maybe 1 to 2 degrees angle in that, so I'm not even going to worry about it. So let's see how it turns out. Okay? Mm-hmm. Go ahead and set up. Spotter's ready.
On it.
Send it. Hit. Nice job.